Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now today we're talking about another news article, basically saying that video games cause violence. Now before this video starts, if we can get 14 likes in 24 hours, that'd be great. Make sure you guys are following my socials to keep up to date with all the latest stuff on my channel. My Twitter and my Instagram are both in the description, top link. So today we're talking about a news article that came out not too long ago, and it's basically saying that video games cause violence. And apparently this is a very professional news article, so we can always be sure that this is accurate, and this is a reputable news source. Now the title is "Negative Effects of Violent Video Games May Build Up Over Time." Now this is very different and very unique to the hundreds of articles I see when I type on Google violent video games causing violence. This is the complete opposite to what I've been seeing in the past, so I'm definitely very interested in this. Now before we start, my opinion on this is that no, video games don't cause violence, but you know, this article's got a different opinion, so I guess we're gonna have to read this. Now this is the first time that I've really seen this sort of stuff on the web about video games causing violence. I don't mean like news shows or broadcasts, because they're obviously going to say that video games cause violence. I'm talking about articles and like news sources online, like reputable ones, not 7 News and Sky News. Now I'm going to break down this article because it's actually pretty interesting, and it seems like they actually have some pretty decent points to this. So I'm going to go over whether these are actually true or not. The odds are already against them and out of their favor, because the statement violent video games cause violence, it's been proven wrong multiple times in the past, but it's pretty interesting. I think we should take a read of this. Now this doesn't mean that we should believe everything the article says, even though it is a reputable news source, because it's an article and they can have false information and false claims and all of that, like most articles do that say this. So basically the article did a test and a study to basically see if video games cause violent behavior, and it's a decent test, I won't lie, but it still could have easily been faked. A new study suggests that a dose of response relationship among playing violent video games and aggressive and hostile behavior, with negative effects accumulating over time. Investigators discovered people who played violent video games for 3 consecutive days showed increases in aggressive behavior and hostile expectations each day they played. They also found that those who played non-violent video games showed no meaningful changes in aggression or hostile expectations over that period. I mean, I'd love to see this, and I'd honestly love to see the proof and the test that they did, because at the moment I'm still on the side of violent video games do not cause violence. Although other experimental studies have shown that a single session of playing violent video games increase short-term aggression, this is the first study to show long-term effects from playing violent video games, said psychologist, I don't know how to say that, Dr. Brad Bushman, co-author of the study. It's important to know the long-term casual effects of video games, because so many young people are regularly playing these, Bushman said. Okay, well let's see what you got. Let's see what they've done. Study results published online by Journal of Experimental Social Psychology and will appear in a future print edition. In this study, researchers told 70 French university students that they will be participating in a 3-day study of the effects of brightness of video games on visual perception. They were assigned to play violent and non-violent video games for 20 minutes each day for 3 consecutive days. This is where the first sort of problems start to arise. There's already a problem, and I haven't even seen the first quarter of the page yet. The first problem is the amount of people they are testing or experimenting with, I guess you could say. There's only 70 of them. For a reputable news source, there needs to be a lot more than 70, I'm just saying. And I'm also guessing that the people that they're testing are all near the same age, same location, same school, same lifestyle, pretty much the same everything. If this is a bad area where they are notorious for doing like bad behavior or illegal acts, like a really bad area, that can definitely affect the results of these tests. And I'm pretty sure it's obvious what the results would be. And also the violence of people and aggression and basically answers to these tests can stem off other things like a lifestyle, the area they live in, the school, and other factors like that. But they don't specify that in this study, which is very sketchy. Like that's the first thing that's really sketchy. If you were doing a reputable news study and a reputable study, you need to have more people from more different backgrounds, such as people who grow up in poor areas, rich areas, mental health, more diversity. More diversity is what they need in this test. Because for all we know, they could be the same type of people, which that's what it's leading towards at the moment. So there's my first problem. They were assigned to play violent or non-violent video games for 20 minutes each day for 3 consecutive days. Basically, here's another problem. The amount of time they did this over, and it's only 3 days. At the start of this, they basically said that this study shows, at the start of this article, they basically said this study shows what long-term effects of violent video games can have on people. I'm not gonna lie, but 3 days is not really long-term. And basically, they're claiming that if you play violent video games over a long period of time, then there will be health damaging and behavioral issues. In my opinion, I think that 3 days just isn't enough time for them to really make a long-term decision like this? Or is that just me? Like, seriously. Investigators assigned the violent gamers to Condemned 2, I think that's how you say it, Call of Duty 4, and then Club on consecutive days in a random order. Those assigned non-violent video games played Superbike, Dirt 2, and Pure in a random order. I've never heard of half of these games in my life, and I'm sorry, but that might be just because that I don't play much of a variety of games, but they've definitely added a ton of variety to this, so I can definitely give them credit for that. After playing the game each day, participants took part in an exercise that measured hostile expectations. They were given the beginning of a story, then asked to list 20 things that a main character would do or say as the story unfolds. For example, in one story, another driver crashes into the back of the main character's car, causing significant damage. The researchers counted how many times the participants listed violent or aggressive actions and words that might occur. This is not really a way to tell if video games cause violence. People's response to questions and answers like this are rooted in someone's personality. You can't tell whether video games with violence cause these predictions. I've got no idea what that actually does. The way someone guesses what's in a story is what's in the story. Like, it's not caused by video games, it's caused by the content in the story. It's not what the video games they played the day before. Okay, so for an example, a truck is traveling 200 kilometers an hour towards a person who is standing still, and the truck doesn't slow down, and the person doesn't move. What do you think will happen? Of course you know what will happen. The person will get run over. Any normal, logical person would say that. It's not what violent video games they played before or what serial they, like, it doesn't matter. It's just what happens in the story. Students in the study then participated in a competitive reaction time task, which is used to measure aggression. Each student was told he or she would compete in an unseen opponent in a 25 trial computer game, in which the object was to be the first to respond to a visual cue on the computer screen. I don't know how a reaction task is going to measure aggression, but let's see what they got to say here. Researchers discovered that after a day, those who played violent video games had an increase in their hostile expectations. In other words, after reading the beginnings of the story, they were more likely that characters would react in violence or aggression. This is very, very fishy to me. Like I stated in this video, they aren't very accurate tests that these guys are doing, and they aren't testing very diverse people, and not to mention that the test itself isn't even that accurate. Like, how is listing what's going to happen in a story going to test whether video games are violent? It just doesn't correlate. The way we respond to questions isn't based off the cereal we ate this morning or the video games that we played. It's already rooted into our personalities, and it's already stated in the story. Yeah, but anyway, my thoughts on this, the article, the study, it's a decent study, but it's not, you shouldn't really take it as a reputable source. So anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and leave a like to make these news articles go away. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. 14 likes in 24 hours. Make sure you join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.